Okay, how y'all doing today? I am your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, the best film writer, director, St. Louis Facts, award-winning published author, activist, journalist, business owner, Lacey G. Souldier Turner. And today, I guess that we have one of the most, to me, iconic child actors who ever played, ever existed, musician, you know what I'm saying? Great family man. I already know we finna find out a lot about what he's been doing on. We got Thuliso Dingwall up in there. Welcome to the platform.
How you doing? How you doing? It's good to be here, and thank y'all for having me.
No problem at all. So my first question to you is, where were you born and raised, and how was your upbringing?
Originally, I was born in Newton, Massachusetts, but I was raised in Clinton, Maryland, in Prince George's County, Maryland. And my upbringing, I would say, was I came from humble beginnings, so I'll say that. Parents were, working. One was working in the IT field, the other one's a nurse. So they were bringing me up right, and they gave me a lot of good guidance, and I love my parents. They're good people.
Okay, so before we even touch it to the wire, how did you get into acting?
So what happened is I saw this commercial. This was back when we were living in Massachusetts. I
Okay.
saw this commercial. It was a Gap commercial. And I think this was at the time where, they had the little babies in the diapers and the underwear and stuff like that back then. So I told my mother that's what I wanted to do. And so we happened to be moving from Massachusetts to Maryland around the age of when I turned 5, essentially. And that's, when I met a woman named Linda Townsend. She's based out of Fort Washington, Maryland. And she basically groomed me, taught me the ropes, gave me etiquette, all of the basics. The foundation that I have came from her. And, from there, I kind of just kept going to the workshops, kept learning as much as I could, participating as much as I could in her teachings and things like that. So, and then eventually I wound up, profiting and growing fruit from that. So, yes.
Okay, so get it to the wire. To me, I feel like I should be a spokesman for the wire because I make sure I tell everybody about this show. I feel this is the greatest show ever written in the history of shows. You know what I'm saying? I feel I am a writer and director. I am because of this show. So I am a spokesman for this. So how did you get the role of Canard? And did your mom, your parents object to the cursing? Because Canard was like, a potty mouth.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I got the audition the night before. I was practicing with my mother, practicing the lines. My dad kind of explained how big of a deal this could possibly be if I got the role. So I went in there. Mind you, I think I was probably the youngest guy in the room. Like in literal age, I was 10 years old. Everybody's like 14 at least in there, like in high school. I'm still in middle school. But the writer, Ed Burns, was in the audition room. He just liked me a lot. And by the time I drove from Baltimore back to Clinton, we're getting a call, saying, yeah, they liked you a lot. They want to book you. And it's like, it was a great thing. It was a great thing. In a matter of an hour, I heard back from him. So it was life-changing for me, for sure. In regards to the cussing and everything though, it's actually a crazy story because, God rest her soul, my father forced me to call my grandmother to get permission to be on the show. So y'all got to thank her. Anybody else watching, y'all thank my grandmother, God rest her soul. You know what I'm saying? It was all grandma. She gave me the okay. She just was like, look, man, don't be doing that in real life. And, don't be in school, talking to people that way. I better not hear you talking to me that, you got to get the spiel from grandma. So, but yeah, she gave me her good graces and it was the history from there.
Okay, so did you have any qualities of the character in your real life, or was it just like the character?
Oh no, polar opposites. Yeah, no, polar opposites. I had some of it, I had to kind of adapt from my dad, because of he's originally from the Bronx, New York. So that kind of feeling, it was kind of that grittiness and that toughness, that needed to get incorporated with the role. I kind of took a little bit of my dad and bits and pieces here and there, and next thing you know, Canard came out. So yeah.
So by you embodying this character and you playing this role, can you explain to us why Kenard was the way he was?
Kenard was the way he was. Kind of the bit of a backstory for that, that I kind of had for him was he's homeless. He doesn't particularly live anywhere. He doesn't have any parents that's giving him that kind of guidance. Like I'm saying, completely polar opposites to me. So having to kind of keep those things in mind, and when getting into the character, remembering, well, he doesn't have anybody to tell him, no, you shouldn't do that, or to try to guide him in the right direction. So everything is tough, everything is survival, everything is grittiness, everything is, yeah, I'm a cuss and I'm gonna say what I want because I can, you know what I mean? Like that's what it was. So it's kind of just adopting that energy and that emotion and trying to put that into that. Because again, polar opposite. You're talking about Clinton. If you know Clinton, Maryland, it's like the suburbs of suburbs. So yeah.
Okay, so now to the point. You already know, man.
Yeah.
You kill Omar. Everybody, he was the most beloved character on there. So how did you find out about, like, you get the script like, hey, you got to kill Omar, and then I heard you was crying afterwards. So
yeah.
How did you feel afterward? How did you find out that you had to kill him, and then how did you feel like afterwards?
So the way we found out, we got the sides, or the sides are basically the script beforehand. I'm reading it and I'm reading through, and I'm like, nah, let me take this to Dad. Let me see if this is reading right. I took it to my father. He's reading it, and then he just makes a face. He was like, "You gonna shoot Omar?" And it was like, "Oh." It was like, oh. He did. It was one of, how you look at something, you like, what I'm saying? It was one of those for him. So, my mom.
He was like, "Ed Burns, is this a typo?" No.
Right there, exactly. So, once the day came to shoot the actual scene, mind you, I'm 11 years old. I've never held a gun in my life. Never even, any of that, been around any of that. But, they showed me what to do. And essentially we did the first rehearsal of the scene with the effects and everything. And like you said, yeah, I was crying. I ran down the block because what I was instructed to do after I shot him, I ran out of the store. But there was a whole block there that I could run down. I beelined it down that block, man. I really thought I killed him. You know what I mean? It looked so real to me at that point. But I ran down all the way down the block. My mother and one of the makeup technicians, Miss Debbie, she came down. They both came down, kind of got me together, and then, we're in the trailer, and then Michael K. Williams comes in the trailer. He's like, yo, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Everything's fine, just basically trying to, work with me and trying to calm me down and everything. So, I mean, yeah, no, it was an experience, especially at a young age. And I'm glad I was able to go through that and learn, the differences and things like that with that. So
did they have blanks in the gun?
So what it was a timing thing. Because I didn't actually shoot the gun. I didn't squeeze the trigger. So the way they had it set up, there was a gentleman on the off angle. He was off frame, who has the effects when the shot happens. And so you see the brain matter and everything go on the plexiglass. And that's basically what it was. And I think they added some sound effects for the gunshot. But yeah, I never actually squeezed the trigger.
Okay. Speaking of Michael K. Williams, may rest in peace. A lot of the couple wire actors have died and everything. So where was you at when you found out about Michael K. Williams' death, and how did you feel about him as a person, period?
He was like my big brother. That's how he was to me. And mind you, we didn't have that many scenes together, and I wasn't around him that often. The two that I remember ever seeing and meeting him was the first time I was ever on The Wire, which was back in season 3, because they had just finished their scene in the street with the shootout and everything. And then I got a chance to speak to him at that point. And then, of course, when shooting him towards, 3 years later down the line, you know what I'm saying? So full circle. But yeah, I mean, when I'm trying to remember exactly where I was. I think I was at work, and I saw it, and it was stunning. It was stunning. Because such a lovely guy. Loved to dance, was a real cool dude, like loved music, he was just a very chill dude. And I was very hurt by hearing the news.
Yes. So rest in peace, Michael K. Williams. Gone too soon.
To
Was
my brother.
phenomenal actor for that.
Yes.
He was becoming one of my favorites after Denzel up at this picture.
Yes, sir.
But so what was your favorite season of The Wire?
My favorite season would probably have to be 4.
Yeah.
That was the season I got beat up. That was the season that, that was my favorite season, man.
Michael put the beats on.
Yeah, man, that's got to be my favorite season by far. Because of how action packed it was in terms of us, the boys of the summer, and everything. It was fun, and we developed a really cool relationship. That's when I met Julito, Mac Wild, Maestro, and everybody, Jermaine, Nathan Corbett. That's when I met my brothers, my other big brothers, and it was really cool to be able to share the set with them and do things with them. So I'm just blessed, and I thank them as well as everybody that was a part, because it was a great experience for me.
Yeah, I mean, season 4 is my best too. I always tell people that, like, see the experience of these kids from, like, they just being kids and having to grow up through this environment and the school system.
Yeah.
All of that. Like one scene that was so profound to me, and I think it wrapped up in season 5 when Dookie was telling Michael, he was like, hey, you remember we do them balloons at the kids and all this? And he was like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So much trauma that he didn't remember that. So I was like, wow, that was very powerful.
Yes.
But who was your favorite character out of The Wire and why?
Ooh, my favorite character? It probably would have had to have been Mac with Michael. Would have to be Mac Wilds, man. Just seeing his growth from season 4 into 5 and what he turned into. You know what I mean? It was interesting and very, very dark a little bit, but it was good. It was good. It was showing how he went from being, the sensible guy to this killer. And that's what he wound up being. So it was good to see that happen full circle and see him, do that. So definitely my favorite.
So one of my characters I hated, I don't know if you watch Walking Dead, but I hated this character until Negan came in Walking Dead. I hated Barlow with a passion. I hated him. I felt he had no soul. I respected Avon, but Barlow, I was like, will he die? What did you think about Barlow, Jamie Hector's character?
I loved his character. I loved his character because of how smooth he was, and just in terms of conducting business. Everything with him was business, and it was straight to the point. He didn't play no games. Everything, if he gave you a threat, he was serious. Like, you know what I mean? He was that dude. Like, he was that guy, and it was, just seeing that and how untouchable he almost seemed was really cool.
Yes, he never raised his. Only time he raised his voice was on the "My name is my name."
Yeah.
Other than that, he was just.
He was smooth, calm, kiltered, poised. That's why I love him.
What was the reception, with you as a child after The Wire, from kids around school and everything like that?
Well, at the time when I was actually doing The Wire, I was attending a Christian school. At the time, Progressive Christian Academy. And I would they understood, what I was doing, and I had to explain it to them, of course, why my mom is trying to pull me out of work early, or put me out of school early. And my friends were really happy. They were like, "Oh, well, you're on this TV show we can't even watch." You know what I mean? Like, it was so it was cool. And then as all my friends got older and they got a chance to watch the show, they're like, "Oh man, that's so," like, they realized how dope it was. So I mean, it was just blessed. I was blessed. And even now to this day, certain people, they may recognize me now. I mean, I have been a lot going, a lot's changed, but even certain people now here and there, they recognize me, and they're like, "Oh man," they say the same thing. "Oh man, I hated your character. Why you kill Omar?" I get the whole gambit. So yeah.
You acting like a little bitch, yo. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I get everything, man.
Okay, so what did you do after The Wire? Did you have any acting gigs?
So after The Wire, from there I wound up doing a play that started at Arena Stage here in Washington, D.C., called Resurrection. It was written by Daniel Beatty, directed by Oz Scott. We went from Arena Stage to Hartford Stage, as well as Philadelphia Theater Company. At the time we were doing the show in Connecticut, I got the opportunity to special guest star on Law and Order with Anthony Anderson and Jeremy Sisto. Regular Law and Order, not SVU. So I got the chance to do that. And then from there, I also guest starred on Person of Interest, Unforgettable, and things like that. So got to meet Malik Yoba and speak with him, another great gentleman, an actor that I learned a lot from, even in that short time I was on set with him. But he taught me some things and gave me some advice to carry on even now. But yeah, I did some of those things while I was in that period. And then from there, I kind of went into college. So yeah.
Nice. So I heard your name, Thuliso. That means peacemaker.
Yes, correct.
How did that come about? With your
so
family?
my mother, as far as I know it, and my mom, she might correct me off the record, but from what I understand, when I was born or before I was born, the way my mom and dad did it was, if I was a girl, my dad would have named me, and if I was a boy, my mom named me. So, I'm a boy, and my mother wound up naming me, and that was the name I think she had already set her mind on. And I like my name. My name is great. Even though it's not the easiest one to pronounce. But I still love it nonetheless.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, was it Thuliso? I'm like,
Sometimes people add letters in there. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's all good. It's all good.
So tell me about music. Say you a musician also. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so I just started recording music about a couple of years ago. Recently, seriously, within the last 2 years. And I have some music out now. I have 2 videos out now. I do mainly like hip hop and R&B, but I can do pop. I can do whatever. So right now I'm kind of venturing and figuring out my sound, and I'm going to be releasing some music very, very soon within the next month or so. Right now, if you wanted to check me out, I have 2 songs right now that I did with a close friend of mine here in the PG County area as well. It's a great friend of mine. I went to Progressive Christian Academy with him. He's like my brother. But you can type in on YouTube, LISO, and then X Shooda, SHOODA, and you'll see both of our videos on there. And yeah, I mean, tell me what you guys think. You can also add me on Instagram, Liso if you ain't know so. It's spelled exactly how I said it. So Liso if you ain't know so. And yeah, you can check out the links and everything and more music from there and get more information.
All right, I put it in the article too. I thought you was gonna say my name, MC Liso.
Well, right now my stage name is just Liso, but I'm still figuring it out.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. So you still friends with a lot of the people from The Wire and everything?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I still talk to of course Nathan, Julito, Mac Wilds when I can catch him. Jermaine. I'm still very in close contact. Maestro with some of those guys. So yeah, I mean, of course, the boys of the summer, I'm still very close contact with. Everybody else. I was a little younger, so I wasn't really talking to the older guys, but you know what I mean. So I still talk to my big brothers. I definitely do.
So what do you have going on now as far as acting or anything? I know you just said the music, so anything
else? Right now I'm in the middle of moving. I'm gonna be moving out to LA tomorrow.
Wow. That's why. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of packing. I'm trying to do last minute stuff. I got so much on my plate between the next 24 and 48 hours. So I'm just trying to get everything together, make sure I'm good to go. But I'm moving to LA to continue pursuing my career out there. I'm already have a manager out there. His name is Jeff Arcio with Collective Media Group, and as well as his team and some of the individuals that he's working with. I'm currently also looking for an agent right now. But right now I'm kind of focused on the music. But I do plan on getting my feet back into acting very, very soon.
Okay, I got like 4 more questions for you. Okay. What has been your greatest challenge while working in the industry?
Right now, getting back in it. That's the biggest challenge for me right now. I've been away for quite some time, and I like to tell this part of my life, this story part of my life, because people usually ask me sometimes, they're like, well, where you been? After the wire, I didn't really, nobody was like, where you go? And I was doing things after the wire. I got little opportunities here and there. But I think my parents really wanted me to really focus on my education. I was 16 years old at the time, wasn't even graduating high school. I'm a junior in high school, and I done been on HBO and NBC. My dad's like, you need to focus, you know what I'm saying? So finished high school. I originally wanted to go to a conservatory, the American Academy of Dramatic Arts or the American Music and Dramatic Academy, two of the best conservatories in the country. I got accepted to both, but they were extremely expensive. Extremely expensive. So I wound up attending Bowie State University, one of the best decisions I've ever made, attending at HBCU. I studied theater there for a time. And then I wound up getting a rather beneficial job in the middle of me in the middle of me being in college. So I was kind of dependent on this job to kind of put me in a better spot. That didn't wind up happening. As life hits you with certain things. So so I just was learning. I think I was going through a bit of life now after college, and went from being a full-time to a part-time student to just fully dropping out. So I mean, to pursue my career now. So I mean, that's kind of what the goal is for me now, is to get back into what I love. I think I've took a break long enough. I think I've experienced enough life to where I'm at the age where I can say, okay, well, it's time for me to get back in gear and do what I actually love doing. So
I love that. So what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment?
Oh man. All right, I have three.
Okay.
One is a novelty one. So, but of course, being on the wire, one of my greatest achievements by far, at least in my 26 years of life so far, for sure. The second one would be essentially the wire. Resurrection was very, very satisfying, and it did teach me a lot in the run. So I would definitely say Resurrection, because that, at least in terms of my resume, that's my only professional theatrical credit. So, and it was a very good one. We got nominated for a Helen Hayes Award, so I'm actually pleased for that. And lastly, I'd have never told nobody this, but okay, I have never told anybody this.
Got an exclusive. No.
I have never told anybody this, but Nathan Corbett could possibly be my witness, because I feel like he was there that day. It was because of him I was even at this event. But long story short, there was a celebrity basketball game in Baltimore that AI was hosting a long time ago, some years ago. I was like 14, 13 years old. And, lots of different, athletes and celebrities. Fat Joe, Carmelo was there, Sam Cassell, Marcus Vick, Pre-Dog, Marcus, and all of that was there. White Chocolate and all these other athletes, right? Mm-hmm. And Rudy Gay, I have to include his name because there's a reason that I'm getting. So what I'm getting to is, first of all, I subbed in for Melo. It's like a sub. So I subbed in for Melo for one. People can't say that, for one. For two, I made a beautiful 3-point right wing shot in Rudy Gay's eyeball, and it was so pretty. It was so pretty. Like, it was nothing but net. I promise you, like, wet. Like, like for real.
Rudy Gay, you got a 3-point shot in your face.
I was 13, and I got witnesses. Promise, I got witnesses.
Wow, it's amazing. Okay, so what advice would you give to, a younger person coming up who wants to act and wants to get in this industry?
I mean, first thing I would say, at least if you're a parent of any kind and you want your child to get into it, get it to them early. The earlier, the better, is what I would say, first and foremost. Second of all, it is hard, and it's very taxing physically and emotionally. As you progress in the field, it gets harder. So, I would just say, keep at it, learn as much as you can, and don't stop. From that's personally from me, don't stop. Do not stop.
All right. So do you have any behind the scenes story from The Wire for our viewers for this piece that we don't know about?
Yeah, I can bring this up. So the night actually that we were shooting the scene, where I was getting beat up by Michael, by Tristan, I remember my dad came with me. My mom usually comes with me to set 9 times out of 10, but my dad came with me this time. And so we were out there, I had to say, very, very late. It was like probably 11 or 12 o'clock, almost at night. And we hadn't eaten anything for a certain amount of time. And so my dad, being, a dad, he was like, yo, we're like, when y'all go feed them, like, what y'all doing? Like, when y'all go feed them? Meanwhile, he's looking, and I don't remember exactly who was arguing. It was the director for that episode and somebody else, but they were arguing at least about the kind of shot that they were getting, because I think we were doing it so well. Like, we were shooting that scene so well that I guess they were fighting whatever shots they needed. At least that's what my dad was saying, because he wasn't actually hitting me. A lot of people think he was hitting me in that scene. He never touched my face. So it looks real, and like my teeth fall out and all that. Mind you, that's a little chiclet piece of gum. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean? Like, so, but that would be my one behind the scenes thing. My dad definitely was like, yo, when y'all gonna feed them? They've been out here for like 6 hours doing this, you know what I'm saying? And feed them, you know what I'm saying? And why y'all arguing? Like, yeah, so yeah, he was being a dad.
Okay, my last question to you. When it is all said and done, and when you are long gone from this earth, what is it that you want people to know about you?
I want them to know that I was a very passionate person. I want them to know that I loved acting. I loved anything arts related. And that for those people who like struggle with trying to convince themselves and like doing things, or if you're good at something, a saying that my father gave me that I've always taken to heart, and I always try to remember when I feel like, when I'm having difficulty doing something and I know I can do it, I guess is what I should say, is self-praise is no recommendation, but confession is good for the soul. Because you have to put a bit of a spin to it. You don't want to talk about how good you are, but if it's the truth, then keep telling yourself that, like, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good at this. Like, you encourage yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because, if anybody else ain't gonna do it, you got to do it for yourself.
Right.
So,
hey, real talk. I appreciate it. So let the people know. I know you said it before, where they can find you at, and if you got anything coming up for them to check out.
Yes, Instagram, LISO IFUYOU ain't AINT, no KNOW. So if you ain't know so, Liso if you ain't know so is my Instagram. My Twitter is now you know so. I try to keep it as close as I can as possible. So Twitter is now you know so. Instagram is Liso if you ain't know so. You can check out my music again on YouTube. And I have some songs, my own personal songs, on Apple Music as well as Spotify and all other streaming platforms. You could just look up Liso. One of my songs is called 2XL, like the shirt size. The other one is called Slow Down. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, the 2 other songs that I did with my friend, those are my most recent ones. The 2 songs are called Hate the Game, and the other one's called Respectfully. Respectfully is my baby. That's my most proud work right now. I put a lot of work into that with my friend, and we really took some time out for that one. So go ahead and check that out on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and more music to come, like I said, in the next month or so. I plan on dropping an EP in the fall, and yeah, just be on the lookout.
All right, and now I know so.
Now you know so. There you go.
But Thuliso, I want to thank you for this, man. Like I said, The Wire, I feel I'm a spokesman. It is one of the greatest shows ever written, period. And I'm honored that you gave me this. You don't know how much this means to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love all of y'all. I feel like I grew up with y'all. I feel like I know y'all, like we family for this piece. So for real, I'm like, that's Canard. What's up, Canard? Nah. But I really appreciate you, what I'm saying, giving me this opportunity to interview you and, find out about the history and everything. So I appreciate you, and I will let you know when this article is out.
Thank you so much. about earlier. I apologize, but thank you.
No problem.
Thank
No
you.
problem. No problem at all. I understand. Like, trust me, I'm a human being. I understand how life goes. So we got it done.
Yes, sir.
So finish your moving. I appreciate you, and thank you very much. I'll keep you posted.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.